After two intense races at Imola and the Nürburgring GP circuit, the series has a high attendance and close racing, and it feels like the name change has sparked a renaissance for the IMSA Vintage series. This week's episode is at the newly refined Okayama. Will the epic racing continue on this tight circuit, or will the old destructive chaos of this series take hold once again? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 8 of the iRacing IMSA Vintage series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Adam Lundgren, and with me in the booth is Craig King. Behind the scenes, it's our director Robert O'Brien, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Okayama fosters a love-hate relationship for every driver, for different reasons. To find out what makes this place unique, let's take you down to our track guide.
Welcome to Okayama International Circuit. Located an hour's drive northeast of its titular city, it sits nestled among the green, lush hills in southern Japan. Built in 1990, it's most well known for the two visits Formula One made in 94 and 95. But since then, national and international touring car series have come to race here as well. Otherwise, the two available layouts are mostly used for club racing and amateur track days. The full course is just under 4 kilometers with 11 turns, and the short version is a measly 2 kilometers with 7 turns. It does this by cutting out the portion between Williams and Revolver. While hairpins abound throughout the lap, overtakes tend to be surprisingly hard. The first corner, Atwood Curve, and Hairpin are the main spots where drivers can attempt a traditional pass. Hairpin makes for unique battles though. The unusually steep banking for a road course, plus the switch back into Revolver, means that holding it around the outside can reward a brave driver. However, while it is a more modern facility, runoff in some places is shockingly small, and it can be easy to damage your car. This section in particular around Revolver, Piper, and Redmond gets slightly claustrophobic. The pit entry requires some practice since you must use the inside lane of Mike Knight, otherwise you'll get a penalty. While it might not see as much use in the real world, here on iRacing this track is part of the base content, and so new road racers will find themselves here frequently. With it being suitable for a wide range of styles of cars, it's sure to excite many of the competitors who tackle it.
Well, Craig, the weather looks a little bit different here than normal. We'll take a look at it very shortly, but what are the drivers going to be expecting here in the IMSA Vintage Series machines?
God, it looks brand new, doesn't it? Well, as mentioned before, Okayama is part of the base package of tracks for drivers. So it's well known to a lot of the drivers, and it's a favorite to some of those drivers. So it's tight and twisty sections to its straights and elevations. This 11-turn, 2.31 mile track is a little of everything. Now, as this track is known to the rookies in iRacing, the similarities with the Mazda and the Audi GTO on display today are far and wide, apart from the fact they don't have the same engine. Regardless, it's no surprise the Audis enjoy this track. The only corner that they might get caught out on is the last corner, called the same name. The ever usual understeer on display can be exaggerated on that final corner. So if the Audis like this track, that mean the Nissans will? Well, no. The track is scattered with mid and low speed corners, and it's a bane to the GTPs today. Now, the middle section of the track from the hairpin down to Piper can be the scene of the crime for many traffic jams in the prototypes, where the drivers will attempt to make the moves while fighting for that aero grip. So despite the oil and water filled, multiclass around here isn't too bad and will provide the challenges the drivers will be expecting. Look out for overtaking zones at Atwood, Hairpin, and Redmond. Notice they're all corners after a long straight. That's the relief for the GTPs. Adam, one of the biggest talking points about racing here is the track temperature. Now, this is a sunset race. It will be cooler today. In fact, we'll get to that in a minute. But that still means the best way to win around here is to be cool, calm, and collective.
Absolutely. One driver who's been pretty good at that is at the top of the GTP standings in the points, and that's Fabian Jungbluth, right now with 102 points total. Over 13 points over Tuomas Muusinen, who did not show up last week, and I'm taking a look, and I do not see him on the name for this week either, so Muusinen's going to continue to fall back in the standings. That's going to put forward Matthias Hovdahl, who's down there in the third position, only 3 points back, who has been a fairly consistent runner in this series. And then we've got Farron Grau only 1 point behind him. Javier Del Olmo only 4 points behind that. It's very close there from second on back, honestly. Anyone down to about Heitor Sánchez Galindo has a shot at second position. Fabian Newbluth is in a pretty commanding lead at the moment in the GTPs, though. What about the GTOs, Craig?
Well, the GTOs, they're kind of similar. We're looking right there at Andreas Valente just on the screen, but he's down in sixth position there. Yuko Leskola is still leading the charge, one of the most dominant drivers in the GTO in recent years. Noel Lundberg is behind him, but just look at those gaps then. Down from Ian Haycox down to Valentages himself, just a few points remain. So as we were talking about the GTPs, that battle in the mid pack is a bit tight. It's still tight here. You would say for third place, but with that gap between Haycox and Lundberg, second place is still tight there. Then you've got the rest of the field bringing them up as well. So again, battles within battles within battles. That's the nature of this GTO field. It feels spread out when you watch the racing, but it is so tight together, anyone's game.
The weather is worth talking about today for sure. Currently, during qualifying, it's 73 degrees in the air and 73 degrees on track. That's because of heavy cloud cover that we have here today. The wind, 5 miles an hour, shouldn't be affecting the drivers too much because you can't quite get up to speeds where it's going to affect you that much going into the braking zones. But Craig, this is going to be intense today with Gio Cortez currently in provisional pole in the GTPs and Mickey Friesen provisional pole in the Audis.
Yep, it's well Gio Cortez just leading away there. Leskola just taking over in the GTPs. This is Gio right now as he's driving on by. And of course, with that cloud cover, there's not a lot of heat coming onto the track. And that key thing Adam was talking about with the track temp being the same as the air temp, that means it's not going to get colder. Gio's just coming out there a Piper and he'll hit down into Redmond on board. This is one of the tight corners. It feels like it's a hairpin into a hairpin as he goes into Hobbs. You just want to keep it clear there because that is also a little bit uphill, Adam, and it's not the only sweeping hairpin that is uphill.
Absolutely. Gio Cortez trying to pip Oyer Zemaloa and try and get back that provisional pole position. Going to come across the line here, trying to improve his time over the 15.2. He does by 0.2. That should be enough, and it is for provisional pole position himself. Most of our GTPs, in fact, all of our GTPs are on their second lap right now, except for Cortez and Sánchez Galindo. But here is Andreas Schuster trying to put a good challenge on to try and take away third position from Mickey Friesen.
Yeah, Schuster's about to come across the line in the GTO. He will record a 26.475. It is enough to get him into third position. I was just watching Laus Olsen. He could not improve it. He'll stay in third position in the GTPs.
And a surprise pole sitter in the GTOs right now, Andres Valenteus, is still on his second lap, but his first lap was fast enough to pip Yuko Leskola by 5/100ths of a second. So that's going to put him in provisional pole position. I don't think anyone else is fast enough to challenge him today. So impressive driving for him on that first lap. I think that goes back, Craig, to what you said about the track temperatures being being so cool right now. It's not going to lose that much track temperature, and it's going to take a bit for the track to warm up due to the cars driving on it.
Yeah, and that also just lines up as well. We always talk about the heavy braking can overheat the tires sometimes around here. So the GTPs will be a little bit happy with those colder temperatures out here, as we see Doug Cloud at the moment. He's driving on by, hasn't set a competitive first lap, and he's coming to finish off his lap. Goes down the hill. We go again. Another one of those elevation changes, hairpin into revolver. You just start to see the amount of work, and look at the steering he has to put in just to get on by here. Down this final mini straight into Redmond. We saw how a GTP takes it. Look how the GTO goes almost full lock around there.
Yeah, Doug's been driving this car a lot longer than I have, and he has absolutely mastered how to get that thing into the corners. Knows when to break traction to try and generate a little bit of tire temp for the next corner. You can see you saw him doing that around that previous corner, but here he comes out of the final corner. Doug Cloud going to try and set a representative lap time this time around. Crosses the line. What position is he going to be in? It looks like it's going to be 8th position, and that's going to round out our qualifying. So that will take us to the grid, and that's going to start off with Gio Cortez in pole position for the GTPs. Oyer Zemaloa is going to line up next to him. Laus Olsen lines up behind Cortez, and Alexander Van der Sant behind Zemaloa. Row 3 goes to Timothy Vaughn and Raul Roches Guardia, and then we've got Heitor Sánchez Galindo on row 4 with Dustin Roeder. Row 5, and the rounding out the top 10 is Farron Grau and Javier Del Olmo. And then we have Jack Wells lining up next to our current provisional champion, Fabian Jungbluth, up there leading the championship in 12th position. 13th is Adrian Prida Sabrino, and then we've got Brendan Lim in 14th. Dylan Freckleton in 15th position with Zabir Sanchez in 16th. Row 9 goes to Enol Luis, and then we've got Martin Krajcik in 18th position, Gaston Santarelli in 19th, and Stefan Leslie in the 20th spot. Then we have our last GTP and last qualifier for the GTP. That's AJ Roper in 21st.
As we go to the GTOs, Valentajus will be leading them off with Leskler in P2. And there's Noel Lundberg in third with Andreas Schuster beside him. Joni Hagner, will be fifth. And then it's Mickey Friesen in sixth position. Then JD Rodriguez will be in seventh. And Doug Cloud, as we just saw, in eighth position. Josh Brain will be ninth, and Timothy Reed will be 10th to round out the first page. And we'll have a second page that goes to Timothy Reed. Lewis Emerson. Then you'll have Ian Haycock's 13th. Gregorio Brashemi in 14th. Jan Volmers will be 15th. 15 GTOs, 21 GTPs, and Adam, every car has set a qualifying time.
Yeah, absolutely. 36 drivers around here. Everyone's saying a qualifying time. That just goes to show you what base content does for you. All these drivers have been driving this track on the road since they started in iRacing. And you know how long it takes to get you up to a license that can drive a series like this. It takes a little bit of time to build that up. You're going to be spending a lot of time around this track. But the car is starting to line up on the starting grid. There we see our cam set down there. All the drivers who have given us cameras to take a look at. A couple of the drivers not in this split at the moment, but we are going to be enjoying seeing those who are driving around here. I want to give a shout out to Cam Porter, who is down in the second split. Good to see you on the cams, buddy. And yeah, it's going to be a good race today, Craig.
It is as well, and I believe that's JD Rodriguez just in the bottom right using VR. So it's one of those that, again, it's one of the great things about this series is you have to see that anyone can drive it any way they want to, and you start to see, look, there is a driver that's got a gear shift, that's got a shifter on the side. There is a driver that uses paddles. There's a driver that uses VR. Somebody that uses a single monitor, a triple monitor. This is one of those series that you can run with whatever you want, and you can have all the fun. And that is the nature of iRacing, full stop. And that is how a lot of us drift. But I gotta confess, Adam, I never drove this track in rookies.
I did, and it's quite a challenge to drive this track in rookies. As you can see, the temperature remaining exactly the same as it was during qualifying. So, Craig, honestly, I'm a little concerned about these drivers in cold tires. We know that cold tires last a while. It lasts a while, the tires being cold around this circuit, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that be a problem for them here.
It will be a problem, and I'm also just worried about what it's going to do to these GTPs. We talk about the bouncing effect when they go over the curb sometimes. You go over the curb, the rear wants to just go bump, 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 and you get on the throttle too much, you spin the car. Now, that's not too much of a problem here. However, if you try to over-throttle the tires, you just be a little bit hot-headed with the lead foot, you're going to cause a little bit of issues. So just be wary. Any drivers that make a spin or just have a moment out of a corner slow, there could be a little bit of sliding. So that is something to keep your eyes on for the first couple laps.
All right, so the Porsche pace car pulls off into the cutaway. We're about to get going once again here for the IMSA Vintage Series. Is going to be Gio Cortez, who jumps the field coming out of the final corner, and is going to absolutely give an opportunity to Last Olsen to take away that second position from Oyer Zamaloa, but Zamaloa is looking back on the inside, under braking. It's going to be Last Olsen with the run, but Zamaloa pushes out wide, makes contact. He's going to spin in front of the field. Big wreck in the GTPs.
Big wreck in the GTPs, and JD Rodriguez had a bit of a spin in the GTOs, and can they all get going through? Here they go. Valentajus gets through with Leskler. Schuster going up as well. They're trying to get around the carnage. You will see one of the drivers get by, but that is not the start JD Rodriguez wanted, and he's struggling to get going.
Absolutely, another wreck in the GTOs. Javier Del Olmo is around off the nose, I believe, of Gaston Santarelli. So that's going to slow them up as he tries to get going in front of the GTO field. Here comes Valentajus. He's got a slow Javier Del Olmo to worry about. This is going to be a challenge for him.
Well, thankfully, Del Olmo had managed to get going, and he gives him a little bit more of a tow. Valentajus was about to get ready to just get off the throttle a little bit. He does not need to. He's going to hold on to Leskler on with the drone. You'll see the 22 and Schuster trying to catch up there. Already made that position. Well, they all made that position after the issue there with JD Rodriguez, but Lundberg getting caught out at the start there, down in 5th position.
And guess who benefited the most from those wrecks in the GTPs? Fabian Jungbluth, who started in 12th, is up to 6th position. Our current championship leader just made a big, huge advantage pull on that first lap, and he's in a good spot. But on board we were with Andreas Schuster, and there is Jungbluth. He's got 3 drivers up ahead of him that he's going to be chomping at the bit with to fight with.
Yeah, you've got Gardia, you've got Van der Sant, you've got Laus Olsen in front of him, and now it's just a case of just find your rhythm. No need to be too aggressive right now. Find your rhythm, get into it, get those tires warmed up. We talked about it with the track temp. The sun's trying to get out, it's not out, it's not happy. So it just needs to just be prepared here. Give it a couple laps. They've been with the multi-class. That's their best opportunity to try and jump somebody. But for now, just get that pace going and get the ball rolling.
OER taking the first turn a little bit too deep, put Gio Cortez in a really good position to lead this race. Currently 2.3 seconds, only after the first lap and a half out front. You can see Laus Olsen there at the front of this 4-car train. He is the driver in 3rd position. 2nd place is Timothy Vaughn, who's 1.5 seconds up the road. Riding on board now are we with Laust, who's trying to defend himself in that podium position.
Yeah, and this is the place where there's not a lot of overtaking opportunities here going into Mike Knight, so they're just going to have to wait, try and get a nice launch out of the last corner to see what they can do, and it does look like that Van der Sant gets a nice little run, little touch of the gravel there for Gardia, but it's not going to affect much. The slipstream on a straight like this is not going to be substantial. Wait for after Atwood to see that slipstream play effect with these GTPs. But of course, dirty air around these S's, around the Moss S's, Adam, it's so tough.
Back in the lead of the GTOs, Andreas Valenteus leading Jukka Leskala. Over the course of this season, Andreas Valenteus has been the only one to be able to put a real challenge to Leskala, and Leskala really hasn't had an answer to him. It's been a real challenge for Leskala to challenge Valenteus when he drives the Audi, but he doesn't drive it every week, so it gives Jukka Leskala the opportunity to still pull away with the championship, Craig.
Yeah, Valente just likes mixing it up. Sometimes the GTP, sometimes the GTOs. He's very competitive in both classes, and he had a 9K iRating for a reason, and he won't get his 9K back today, but he likes to provide that challenge for himself. He call it the Kurt Clapper sometimes, the Kurt Clapper special, where he'll not qualify and try to see how far he goes up the field. He does really well, and when he's at the front of the field, it's so hard. Earlier in the season, we did see it, Adam. We saw him try to battle against Doug Cloud, and we saw what happened. The moment Valente just got free of Cloud with 2 laps to go, he just pulled away. He is the boss mode when it comes to racing.
Riding on board with Jukka Leskala sans the googly eyes today as we see him trying to follow Valente in his tracks. It's also nice to see a returning driver in Joni Hagner back in 4th position. He was here last week as well, but did not quite have the race that he was hoping for. But nice to see Joni Hagner back in the GTO and trying to put a challenge on and improve to get up there back battling with the leaders as he did back in the days of Dirty Turk and Glacier Racing when they were duking it out at the front for wins and championships. Yeah,
well, just get yourself going. It's like riding a bike, these cars. Once you know how to do it, it's just second nature. And him and Schuster's in a nice little gap there at the moment, so they're just going to hold on. A little bit of a slide going on, but you just start to see Schuster, just trying to catch up to the back there. Not a lot you can do, Adam, at this stage. Now, you've got the experience. I'm going to put on you. What is the best opportunity here? Do you wait to see if the multi-class traffic opens up to take the opportunity? Or do you just try and make your moves before that first round of traffic?
Yeah, absolutely not. You make your moves before the first round of traffic because traffic is a complete unknown. You have no idea how that's going to affect your race, but you know that a pass you make on track before traffic usually will allow you to maintain that position. So what I always tried to do during the races is make the passes before traffic, and then when the traffic came, try and take advantage of it when it came.
That's pretty much what a lot of people do, and I would probably agree. I would agree with you there, especially in the slower class, because you don't get that opportunity sometimes. Your best opportunity is say one of those faster GTPs goes by, the doors open. You try and sneak in. It's not going to happen all the time with the speed differences around here, but you can never know what happens. And this battle, we still haven't seen anything. But again, give it another lap, Adam, and they'll start to hit the traffic. So anything could happen with these 4.
Absolutely. Our GTOs are going through the final couple of corners right now, and our leader in the GTPs, Gio Cortez, is just now going into the S's. So we have a good opportunity coming up soon for the GTPs to start getting into the GTO traffic. But let me tell you, Timothy Vaughn has not been able to close the gap to Gio Cortez. Gio's still pulling it out by about a tenth a lap. Timothy Vaughn's about 3 seconds behind. Laust Olsen's also losing time to Timothy Vaughn. He's about 3 seconds behind Vaughn himself.
Yeah, it looked like Laust didn't have the best of laps last time by. As these drivers come by, it's a couple tenths every lap that Gio's pulling on Timothy, and that adds up, especially now with 6 laps into the race. That explains the 3-second deficit. A couple tenths lost by Laust Olsen there as well, but he's keeping the pack together, and he's also keeping that gap just so he doesn't get threatened. All that can change, though. We never mentioned it, Adam. The delta between classes here today is 10 seconds. I can't remember the last time it was that close.
Yeah, last time it was that close. You're right, absolutely, because that may seem crazy to say it that's close, but as we saw last week, it was 15 seconds. So it's a little bit of a surprise to see it that close together. But our leader's about to get into traffic. Gio Cortez is coming up on the back of Gregorio Buscemi and Ian Haycox, who are battling with Josh Brain and Jan Volmers for the 11th position. So we're about to see Gio Cortez get into that traffic.
Yeah, and Gio, it's going to be very interesting to see how he does, especially with the pack all still bunched up. Yes, like I was saying, they're split out, but you've got a bunch of 3, a bunch of 4, a bunch of 4, a bunch of 2. They're all grouped up together. It's going to be tough because if you get stuck behind one, you're going to be stuck behind a few. So into the final corner comes Vaughn, Olsen, and Van der Stant. They won't hit the traffic yet. They're going to hit it going into the S's and then the Atwood curve. Going to be very interesting to see what happens as Gio almost, as I was just watching, Gio almost went into the back of Jan Volmers.
Taking a look at a battle between Martin Krajcik and Xavier Sanchez as they're going down the straight. It doesn't look like Xavier is going to have an opportunity to make a pass this time around. But let me tell you, this is going to be a challenge when the traffic does hit. And it looks like it's going to, if we could bump back up to Laust Olsen and Alexander Van der Sant as they're battling. We're about to hit the traffic here with the GTOs, and that's going to start to play a factor, especially for Laust Olsen coming through this hairpin as we approach the S's.
Not the best place. Hairpin into Revolver. It's the worst place for these GTPs and the best place for these Audis, so it's going to be tough. He gets a little bit held up. He pulls in Van der Sant just a little bit. Now look, he gets past one car. Is he going to get in there? No, Van der Sant gets bookmarked. There's that slow GTO there, just holding him up, and that brings in Guardia as well. Any more time, and he may also bring in Youngblood, but Laus is unable to make a move into Hobbs to get past Ian Haycock, and then goes a little bit wide into the last corner. This is going to be a late move there.
Gio Cortez is around!
And Cortez is around damage!
He's parked at the apex of the... He's parked where the pit entry is. He just came up too fast on one of the GTOs and miscalculated.
He got a little bit. This is going into the last corner. You would just start to see. Here he comes. This is Redmond. Sorry, not Piper. Redmond into Hobbs, and you start to see the car in front. He wants to get past the car. He realizes, can I get past? Yes. Now he goes a bit too hot into this corner. He looks for this move, goes in too hot. It's too late. He spins around, and then this little tap, unavoidable damage there. And unfortunately, that could be damage. That's aero damage. Gio all the way down into 12th place. And Van der Sant, while we're looking at this, has also gone around.
Yeah, he had a similar moment in turn 1 just after this happened where he got packed in with some of the GTOs. But we got some chaos going on in the 6th and 7th positions. Take a look at this. This is Dustin Heroder trying to hang on to the position over Adrian Prieto Sobrino and can't do it.
Can't do it at the moment. Adrian is trying to hold on. Jack Wells is in front of them, and it's going to be very tough. This is the bit now. It starts to open up. They've got a little bit of a breather as they hit Reed. Reed 2 seconds ahead. That will be Reed, Friesen, and Van Higsey. Just going to have to wait for that. The other drivers get caught in with that. Can you get a good run here? A little bit of a compromise on the exit there for Wells just up ahead. Does that allow Sobrino to make the move? No. But a little bit chaos, because once they're through this, Adam, they got to go through Williams and the S's for the rest of the traffic.
Keeping track of our championship leader in the GTPs, Fabian Jungbluth, up 9 spots so far. He has climbed his way up to 3rd position and is putting pressure now on Laust Olsen for 2nd because Timothy Vaughn's in the lead at the moment. So Fabian Jungbluth doing an excellent job of trying to climb the ladder right now and get himself as many championship points off of that bad qualifying as he can.
Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous. We'll see.
Oh, right big wreck of the GTOs. Gregorio Buscemi, Luis Emerton, and Josh Brain have come together. This was an interesting moment that happened because of Luis Emerton getting pushed out wide because of one of the GTPs.
Yeah, really weird. Actually, I think he may have got a little bit of contact there. Yeah, there was a little bit of contact there that caused it, and then just goes around. He's a little bit of a missile when he goes on the grass. It slows you down, but you don't have the control. Josh, nowhere to go, just gets caught up in it. Just a little tap there just started that whole chain reaction. And we talk about the chaos of multi-class, and unfortunately, one of the tightest parts of the track has caused even more damage. And look at this again. Cars are bunching up all left, right, and center, and it's just a pressure cooker.
Oh, Jack Wells trying to put a defensive block onto Adrian Prida Sobrino, able to do so, but at what cost? That was almost an incident. Sobrino trying to go around the outside, can't quite do so. It's going to come back to the inside, cut off the nose of Heroder. They've got Yoni Hagner, 3rd position. They have to worry about. Yoni's going to try and stay out of the way of these guys. Here we go with Adrian trying to put the pressure on Jack Wells. He's got the speed. He's definitely quicker through the traffic, but that doesn't mean that Wells is going to give it up easily.
No, but a little bit of a slide going through the Atwood curve there. Is that going to hold up and be an issue for Wells? He knows it straight away. He goes straight for the defensive line. He does not want this to happen. He's just going to sit there where he can. He's just going to wait his moment. And this could be interesting because as Sabrino tries to go on the outside, he can't, almost touches with Hedora there. If he went around the outside there, he could have set himself up for an overtake down here. Just couldn't get it going. Still battles as well elsewhere because I believe Jungbluth has got Guardia with him behind him as well. Those 3 in the GTPs are still tucked together.
Absolutely, and I can report that Enol Luis ran into the back of Martin Kraytrick and sent him off track, so those GTPs are now out of it. We are looking at the battle between Prida Sobrino and Jack Wells still as they continue to go through. They're going past our Audi leaders right now, and they should be able to get them both before turn 1. At least Jack Wells will. I'm not sure about Sobrino. If he goes for it, he's going to go for it. It's going to cut off the line from Andres Valenteus. Valenteus, though, able to maintain that position over Yuka Leskala for the moment.
And you just saw Leskala, he looked, the door was slightly open. I mentioned that before. Slightly open was that door, and he went to go for it. Did not pay off. Could not make that going. Meanwhile, other battles going on. Doug Cloud trying to hold off Johan Van Hixie in front. Noah Lundberg as well, just trying to keep up there. One of the things we talk about with multi-class traffic here is, yes, it really causes the chaos in the top class, but the slower class, it really throws off some of those battles and almost sometimes creates the battles.
Absolutely, and we're seeing that right now with Doug Cloud. You can tell he's a little bit frustrated because he got cut off a couple of apexes. And he's going to get this one cut off too. The GTP very slow into the corner. That is Enol Luis, who was the one who made contact with Martin Kraytrick earlier. That's going to lose him time to Noah Lundberg up ahead and put him in the clutches of Joram Van Hixie.
Yeah, that is just a great example of what can happen there. Nothing Doug can do at this moment. He needs to try and catch up to Noah. Well, thankfully, because of the same issue again, he can catch up to Lumber, but then he goes a little bit wide. Van Hixie behind gets held up by Kraytrick as well. So the GTP's working against Doug, working with Doug, and I don't know what's going to happen the 3rd time he gets some GTP.
Absolutely. Now, up at the front of the GTP field, Fabian Jungbluth caught up to the back of Laust Olsen over a decent amount of time, but now he's starting to lose ground to Laust, and he's losing ground and falling into the clutches of Raul Rosés Guardia, and Guardia is going to go for a move here on Jungbluth, and I don't think Jungbluth is going to fight this.
No, Jungbluth knows that straight away, and he realizes the best thing to do is to just sit behind lovely camera.
Oh, Yuka Leskal's around a major incident. He's got no front end, and he's in the pits. This was a flip and a half. He got contact from a GTP, I believe it was Gaston Santarelli, that sent him off. This ends our battle for the lead.
And this is never something you see. Leskala never gets caught in an accident. And through the S's again, tight section. Is he going a little bit too wide? I think he didn't see the second car there. I don't think he understood there was a second car there.
He has to take that line. There's no other option for the Audi there. The GTP stole the apex from him. He had to turn in.
We talk about it all the time, Adam, and I didn't bring it up this time. The Audis, sometimes they have to track out. They have to take the line that is not given to them, but it's what the car gives them. And again, we just see that as way. And yeah, Lesko has retired the car.
He had to. That was major. I'm sure his engine's absolutely gone. So unfortunately for him, that's the end of his race. This gives an opportunity to Noah Lundberg. And we've had another wreck. It's Ian Haycox, I believe, who's made contact with Jan Volmers. This was coming out of Revolver. And yeah, he's gone around. He's made major contact.
Yeah, let's see it on the GSRC replay. He was battling Volmer. This was Revolver. Here is Revolver going into Piper. They're side by side. A little bit of an overlap. Something's got to give. And Ian, I don't know if Ian went a bit too close there or a little bit tracked out there by Volmers. Not entirely sure. The ricochet off the wall causes the other damage, but you just start to see, here they go. Ooh, I'm not sure who to call that on. I'm just in the booth here.
Yeah, it looks like Volmers got onto the curb, which pushed him out wide into Ian. Ooh, yeah, that's a hard one to call, but regardless, neither driver deciding to play it safely, and both of them ending up losing positions because of it. So Haycock's now down to 12th position. I was just talking about Noah Lundberg. Noah Lundberg is second in the points to Yuka Leskola. He's got a large gap to make up. Currently fourth in this race, about 1 second behind Andreas Schuster, and they're going to have traffic coming through them once again very shortly. So Noah Lundberg, his job is survival today, but he's going to want to maximize his points as well.
Oh, Adam, looking at the race today, I think everyone's mission is survive today, let alone Noel Lundberg, and he is doing what he needs to do right now. Fourth place, it doesn't sound a lot, and of course everyone wants to win or get a really good position, and you know he is trying to catch up to Schuster, so one thing we'll have to keep an eye on in the race when we're only not even halfway through yet. It's just look at those times between Schuster and Lundberg. But yeah, you mentioned as well the traffic. It's crazy to think. We were just talking about the traffic, and the leaders are already on the back of the living GTO field as they hit on to Ian Haycox in 13th position.
Absolutely. We're taking a look at this battle that's still going on between Adrian Prida Sobrino and Jack Wells. It just doesn't seem like Jack can get away from Sobrino, but Sobrino can't get enough of an advantage on Jack to make the pass.
No, it's the staple of this track. Again, we talked about last year. I remember Joe mentioned it on a broadcast. This is the track that hosted F1, and it's the prize is hosted F1 because of the fact that it's hard to make the overtakes sometimes. And you can see it with these downforce cars. Yes, they're having a battle on their hands trying to survive the track. But where do you make the overtakes? We've seen one legit overtake today in these GTPs, and it was the run down to the hairpin.
It's all about the mistakes around here, Craig, and with no banking really to help you out except for right here, there's really no way about it. You have to capitalize on the mistakes. Now, you may see the sun changing angles here. We forgot to tell you, this is at 7:41 virtual standard time, so it is the morning. It's going to be getting brighter, and the track temperature is starting to rise up to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, so up 1 Celsius since we started the race.
And I've noticed as well, the cloud cover has gone away from most of the track, so the sun is starting to warm the surface up, and there is no cold surface out there at the moment. Starting to go, look at it, Wells puts himself in a nice defensive position, and Peter Serino trying to make that around the outside. That is how you try and make an overtake in these sections, is you try and take the outside line in the first corner of the multi-hairpin sections, but he just couldn't pull it off.
Absolutely, and where he struggles the most is this exit right here. We can see that Sobrino really loses time to Jack Wells on that exit, and this is the best passing zone for those GTPs, Craig, so it doesn't surprise me that Sobrino continues to fall back. Update on our leaders, Timothy Vaughn up to nearly 9 seconds ahead of second place Laus Olsen at the moment, as Timothy Reed, I'm trying to see, Timothy Vaughn is the leader, that's right, and then Audrys Valenteus, well, because of the wreck with Yuka Leskola, has 10.4 seconds over second place Joni Hagner. So as long as Valenteus doesn't get in an accident, he's pretty much got it.
I'm knocking on wood. I'm knocking on wood. Don't even say that, Adam. We don't want to curse the man out there. He's having a nice quiet race out there, but he's doing what he has to do. And that challenge he had, unfortunately, is gone right now. So it's just a drive around. Here's the number 2 out there, Gio Cortez. He's trying to recover, and with all that damage on the back, Adam, how can he recover? Trying to catch up to Dylan Freckleton, though. Going to do the best he can, but it's such a long way up now, and we're halfway, and he's got all that damage.
I mean, how can he recover, Craig? It's exactly what you talked about. It's the damage on the back of the car that's going to be affecting downforce. But downforce doesn't really play that much of a role around this track. It's mostly mechanical grip, so that's why we're seeing it not affect him as much. He's putting heavy pressure right now onto Freckleton. As long as he can get a good run off of this final corner, we'll see him make the pass. Here he comes, down the front straight. He's got the run. He's going to take a look to the inside. Is Freckleton going to fight this one? We go into the first turn, and it looks like Freckleton's going to give it to him.
No, Freckleton's got a little bit of damage himself. It's a little bit of a bend on the wing. It's not as aggressive as the bend that Gio's got, so that does help. A little bit of traffic doesn't help him, though, but he's able to just keep on going. Oh,
happened again. It happened again, Craig.
Yeah, happened a second time. I just saw that and thought, please, no. That is just a moment that... I guess it's the inexperience, because we haven't raced this track in, what, a year? I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a lot of the issue right now.
And pardon my frustration as a former Audi driver, that move boils my blood a little bit. But we go back up to the battle between Noah Lundberg and Doug Cloud. Noel's not going to want to give this position away. He wants to get the maximum amount of points compared to Yuko Leskala's wreck out today. So this is going to give Doug a real challenge. Doug is known for defending a lot, Craig, but Noah Lundberg is in the position of defense today.
Let's go back to that race at Imola a couple of weeks ago when we all saw the drive that Doug had, and he lost out because Valente just caught him, and also he kind of run out of fuel. No one expected to go an extra lap, but the way he held himself around there, he just showed that on his day, if the conditions are right, he is a force to be reckoned with, and he is trying now to just show that, hey, I'm not just a defensive driver. I can make a few attacks, and as I say that, I've given him the commentator's curse, and he goes wide at Atwood.
Absolutely, but wide does not mean the end of the battle. And he's got 3.5 seconds back to Joran Van Hixie, so he doesn't have to worry about that particularly that much. Honestly, from second on back, it's fairly close. Joni Hagner's only 1.2 seconds ahead of Andreas Schuster, who's 1.2 seconds ahead of this particular battle. So the top five minus our leader, Valente's, in a close battle for that second step on the podium.
Yeah, you look at it, 11 and a half seconds between first and second, and then 3 seconds between second and fifth, and a late dive from Laus there. He's trying to hold off here, Guardia. This is a battle in a battle. Guardia now having to go around the outside. That's going to be tough. That holds up Doug. That holds up Guardia. That's not what they want to see. And then a nice late send there from Guardia to try and keep up to Laus.
Absolutely. So Noel Lundberg able to pull away from Doug Cloud just because of that moment right there. You see it happen a lot around here with Okayama. We've seen it happen multiple times as well. So these battles in the GTOs, oh, Doug really struggling to get the front tires to behave under braking, it looks like, Craig.
It looks like he's having issues then also mid to end corner. He's just not getting the power down. And I wonder if it's also, again, I talked about it earlier, the track is now starting to warm up because the sun's out. I wonder if that's also catching the drivers out. It's still 75 Fahrenheit out there, 24 Celsius. But just on those slower corners, he's just not getting that power down, and he's really having to need to use that to catch up to Noel here.
I've never known a driver in iRacing to bet on a cool track, Craig. I would hope that Doug did not make that bet, but it's possible. It's also possible that with the issues he's had, the lockups that he's had early on in the race, that he's just losing the front end a little bit, the front tires going away. But we see Doug getting passed by Jack Wells. He's about a second ahead of the battle between Prita Sobrino and Dustin Heroder, who's climbed up to 7th position. Gio Cortez is another 2.4 back of that.
Sobrino's going to be just coming by. Not this corner, not at Mike Knight. He's going to have to wait. And just as he thinks he gets by. Oh, a late move there from Dustin. Caught Doug out again. And for the second time, Adam, in many laps, Doug getting caught out by the traffic at the same part of the track, and he's lost the time this time because Lundberg hasn't been caught up in that.
Absolutely. So it's now 1.5 seconds separating both third to fourth to fifth as well, and about 2 seconds between Joni Hagner in second to Andreas Schuster in third in the GTOs. But Dustin Heroder right on the back of Prita Sobrino for the 6th position in the GTPs right now. I think Heroder's got an opportunity to make this pass soon.
I think he's got an opportunity to make this pass right now, because you can see Sabrino having to take the inside line. He's going to try and do this. Again, he may set himself up to go side by side and take it into the next corner. He does try that. Does not work this time. That is a test, though, because if he can get that held off at the hairpin, he's side by side going into Revolver, and that is dangerous because he would have the inside. That's what he's probably trying to set himself up for. He's telling Prida Sabrino, hey, I've got your number right now.
Absolutely. So Hiroder in a really good position to try and battle with Sabrino. Sabrino's trying to focus on those corner exits, but remember, we talked about where Sabrino's weak, and it's going to be right here on the exit of this corner onto the front stretch. So if Hiroder can get a good run, which he can't, all these GTPs never anticipate the amount of aero wash that comes through on that corner that peels the nose off of the peels the nose of the car off of the tarmac, and they always end up pushing through that corner and not able to get a good run. It's always interesting to me that they don't make an adjustment for that. But we have Sabrino now, who's ahead of Hiroder and who's able to hold him off because of the dirty air we're seeing.
Because of that dirty air through the S's, it does mean that any advantage he took, he has not been able to get is Dustin. And now Dustin, he's back at square one, but he's further behind as he was this last time by. Gio is right behind, a second behind. You just saw him there. He's not in any chance of catching him at this moment. But if these two keep fighting, maybe Gio will get involved. Gio, the only person in the top 10 to lose places from where they started. There he is. He is looking, again, to make that recovery drive. And the more these two fight, the more he may make that recovery drive successful.
Absolutely. Gio Cortez nursing that right rear damage that's been affecting him all day. He's definitely closing on this battle ahead. Not as quickly as he would be with a clean car, but definitely closing on this battle. Timothy Vaughn is still out to about 8 seconds over Laust Olsen. That gap has stabilized. Raul Roches Guardia has closed the gap to Laust Olsen. I say that, but Raul's just made a mistake going through the first turn. This was all on his own. He just ended up getting loose under braking and sliding out to the outside.
Looks like too much speed. Well, we may get a look at that later on, but it looks like he just took a bit too much speed. It's nothing major, but the side just went and he tried to get that car going. And the moment he tried to get that car into a corner with too much speed, the rear just kicked out. And we've all had those moments before. So that what was a 1 second gap there to last about a 1.5 second. It's turned into a 3.7 second gap, and he's going to have to work it all the way through once
here
again.
We go. Dustin Hiroder is going to make the move on Sabrino. Sabrino trying to be defensive to the inside here as we go around the hairpin. Here comes Gio Cortez trying to play spoiler to this battle with Hiroder and Sabrino. But here we go once again. Sabrino trying to hold off Hiroder for this 6th position.
Now, can he do it? This is where it gets crunch time. We're 11 and a half minutes in the race. The last 10 laps are starting to count down. What can he do? Gio's there. Gio's just going to pick up the pieces. If any of these drivers make a mistake, he's just going to say, thank you very much, I'll take it. A little bit of grass touch there from Dustin. He's looking to go. Now, does he get this right this time? No, he does not, Adam. And that sets up Gio for the move, but Gio doesn't have the speed. Yet again, a mistake in that last corner with that aero wash. Here comes Gio.
He makes the send and absolutely nails Hiroder on turn 1. He's able to get that done because he was the one who predicted the aero wash and was able to get that last corner correct. And even with the aerodynamic disadvantage that he has, he's able to get that pass done on Hiroder, and he's better on the brakes than Hiroder, so he's going to be able to climb his way to the back of Sabrino. A good move from the 8th place driver.
Now let's watch with the slipstream here, though, because Gio needs the slipstream with that damage. He needs to use it not just to catch up there to Prida Sabrino, he needs it to pull away from Hiroder. Now, can he try and hold this? He does. He actually extends that gap a little bit, but once again for Dustin, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. He just gets caught by that aero wash in the last corner.
Absolutely. Now Gio Cortez closing up to the back of Sabrino. This is the closest battle on track in the top 10 positions, and we've got Gio Cortez right up the back of Adrian Prida Sabrino for 6th position. And he's been able to gain that gap. Hiroder really falling off the back now, struggling with rear tire grip as Hiroder. He's not going to be able to be part of this battle at all. Cortez with a good exit off of the corner. He's gaining, and believe it or not, Sabrino is also getting to Jack Wells up ahead. That battle that we saw going on for a while, he's actually closing that back in.
Here's, I'm just looking at those times. It's a couple tenths taken away from Jack. Jack also having held up here from Ian Haycock. Please, guys, let's not do the same we've seen before. And there's going to be no issues this time by through the S's with GTPs on GTOs. But Gio is catching. He took a lot of speed into that corner. He's going to get a nice launch out of it. But Prida Sobrino, he has the slipstream now on Jack Wells. That is vital. Gio is going to struggle now.
Yeah, within a second is where that slipstream is the most effective on these GTPs, and with the shortness of the straights we have here, that's really the only time you're going to feel the effect. But Sobrino, right, closing up to the back of Jack Wells, he's had to put the hammer down a little bit in order to catch up to the back of Jack Wells to try and keep Gio Cortez behind him, but he's going to soon get compressed under Jack Wells, and the question is, we've seen Sobrino make mistakes on this final corner multiple times. Is he going to do it again?
Let's wait and see as they hit the penultimate corner, Mike Knight corner, and let's just see what happens. Goes around. It looks clean, yeah, but Gio with a nice little... Gio, that is how you do it. He's still up there. He's got the slipstream. Is he going to go 2 for 2 with these late moves? Here he goes. No, bit too far. Gio is playing a blinder out of that final corner, and he's putting the pressure on.
Absolutely. We saw that pressure with Sobrino going wide there. So Gio Cortez absolutely putting that pressure onto Sobrino. Sobrino using up a lot more track width. Look at this. Gio Cortez going to go for the dive here, and he's going to get the job done. Can Sobrino challenge him once again up the inside? The answer is no. The inside just does not provide enough grip. Gio Cortez up to 6th. He's going to move slightly defensively, realizes that Sobrino would have to make a late dive into the hairpin to get it done. Moves Gio Cortez up to 6th.
Wow, I was not expecting that, and he almost overcooked it and gave himself a bad launch. But now he's going to use that aero wash. In front, he's caught up to Jack Wells because Jack is getting held up by a GTO. That is Jan Volmers. So now is there going to be a little bit of a move? Yes, Volmers goes a little bit wide. That allows Gio to try and make this move, but they're side by side. He's going to have to go around the outside. Now, what's going to happen with Prida Sobrino here? He is going to lose out time here. He's going to lose out more time. He brings right back to Dustin, and about 5 laps ago, those two were battling for 6th position. Now they're battling for 7th and 8th.
Now I want to take us back to Andreas Schuster and Noah Lundberg in 3rd position in the GTOs. Noah Lundberg has caught up to Schuster. Schuster's been struggling this last couple of stints. As we enter the last 7 minutes of this race, Schuster's front tires are starting to go, and Noah Lundberg wants those extra points that we talked about. Doug Cloud has fallen off the back of Lundberg to the tune of 3.6 seconds, actually into the clutches of Mickey Friesen. So we're seeing 2 battles going on in the GTOs happening because of, honestly, tire wear.
Now, just because, Adam, just because we're saying it's a cold track, it doesn't mean that you overwork the tires even more. If you still go hard and late on the braking because it's a colder track, you are going to heat those tires up because you're going to heat the brake pads up, and that could cause a lot of issues. So Schuster just having to be a little bit smoother, and it not working out for him. Ooh. So now here is the move going to be made here. It's going to be a late send. He can't do it, but that's just a sign. You can do it in a GTP, but you can't do it there in a GTO.
Looks like Schuster's shifting is a little suboptimal at the moment, which is leading him to lose some speed on the straightaways. He's going to have to give room to AJ Roper here as well. So that puts Noah Lundberg in a really good position to try and line up a pass into the hairpin. If he can get a good exit, you can see him taking a late entry, and he's going to try and come up the inside. So hard to do. Even in these 4-wheel drive cars, the inside doesn't actually provide you that much overspeed.
No, and especially when we talk about the wedge blocks that they are as well. They do punch a hole in the air, but it's not as effective as you can see. And of course, with the late braking and the heel toe required to downshift this car, late dives are not easy in these cars, and you do actually see that some cars weaving out. We do have other battles going on. I don't know. I think Gio Cortez, is about to get past Jack Wells as well. He does indeed. That happened due to multi-class traffic shenanigans, and also behind them, Prida Sobrino is getting held up, and Dustin Herrera, maybe, I apologize for my butchering of that name, might be getting this move done.
Absolutely. This is actually Brendan Lim on Dylan Freckleton. Brendan Lim able to get that job done. The question is he going to get boxed in by Louis Emerton? He's not going to. He's going to play this really safely and try and play this safe. Let's see. That's going to be Dylan, who's going to try and go up the inside, but Brendan Lim covered it off. Move Brendan up to 9th position.
Now, of course, now the question is, can he just pull away with these 4.5 minutes left? Yes, there's going to be traffic, but he just needs to utilize a little bit of time. And again, we talk about this final corner. Are both these drivers going to get by? I think Dylan took a little bit safer there, and that may have just compromised him.
Back behind this, Xavier Sanchez looking for a move on Stefan Leslie. You can see it in the background there. And he's going to get that move done, but not really. Stefan Leslie duking it out on the outside. Both of these drivers not super good at communicating their on-track positions. A couple of weaves here and there. I don't think either of them is going to be very happy with the other. They're coming up to Gregorio Buscemi. Look at this. It's going to be 3 wide. Oh, boy. Xavier Sanchez muscles his way by Leslie.
Javier wanted that, and he was going to take that whether anyone liked it or not. He went in and manages to get that position. Leslie will not be happy with that. He will still have to try and fight for this, look for any late moves. Not this time, but there's still a few more laps left to go for that. Not missing anything elsewhere as well. Lundberg still hasn't got past Schuster, by the way, in the GTOs. You're not missing anything there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that Sanchez is going to start to pull away here. I would like to go back to Schuster and Lundberg, as Lundberg has not been able to close that gap that much, but Schuster is still showing that he's making some mistakes, going wide through turn 1 there. But it looks like the Audis, most of them starting to run out of tires at this point.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the times last lap, and there was a 10th difference between the two of them, and Schuster was the faster of the two. So it could be very interesting near the end of this race. Well, we are at the end of this race. There's only going to be a couple laps, 3 laps left maybe for some of these drivers, so it's all to play for. He really needs a good launch out of this corner. I don't think he's got it. I think Lundberg is just going to have to sit behind once again.
Absolutely. I do want to report on the lead of the race. Laus Olsen has cut into Timothy Vaughn's lead to the tune of 4.5 seconds. It's down from 8 seconds to 3.5, but unfortunately that's not going to be close enough. Laus just going into the S's now, whereas Timothy Vaughn's exiting.
Oh, sorry. Lundberg just got hit in the rear from Youngblood, but he keeps going, but there is damage to the rear.
And also to the nose of Youngbluth, who's our championship leader in the GTPs.
And this is just going to throw everything in shambles. Hit Schuster get far away from Lundberg now. Lundberg is just going to have to see Youngblood and Cortez there try to catch up. Wells getting caught as well. This could be a move for Gio onto the last corner. You could see that the desperation is there. He has to try and make that move now. Can Jack Wells get this? Jack Wells could get that 5th place back if he tries. Sorry, it's Youngblood. Sorry, Youngblood on Gio. I got the names wrong. Gio's got to try and do this around the outside. Youngblood will hold on to it.
But there's not much Youngbluth can do. He's got to try and defend this position, but his car is a complete disaster now. He's got no front end on that thing. Jack Wells has an opportunity to get that 5th position, like you said, from Youngbluth, but Gio Cortez recovers all the way to 4th position right now. That's really impressive.
If you told me after the start of that race he would get a top 5, I don't think many people would have believed you, but he's just kept true to the car and he's trying his best. Youngblood is trying to hold on to that thing. There's not a lot he can do. He's taking the middle of the track. Jack is saying, I'll take any part of the track you want. And Jack Wells gets past Youngblood and almost going into the back is Prida Sabrino.
Prida Sabrino off into the gravel there. He's going to recover, but he's going to lose that position to Dustin Herroder that he fought so hard for. Youngbluth saw it coming and was able to avoid it, but we need to go to our leader. Timothy Vaughn is going to cross the stripe to take the white flag, still with 3.8 seconds over Laus Olsen, so he's been able to pull out a little bit of a gap this lap.
Yeah, we're going to pull out some sort of a gap, and Laus getting held up for the 2nd lap in a row. He's in a battle with Raul Garida in the back as well. We may have to look at that later on, but it's all happening in that midfield, Adam. Just one mistake from Youngblood just blew everything out of proportion.
Absolutely. Here is Raul Roches Guardia, and he's trying to catch up to Laus Olsen. He's going to get cut off a little bit here by Ian Haycox. Going to be able to go around the outside, but that'll lose him some time. So that puts him about 1 second behind. But my goodness, it all cracked off here in the last 3 minutes of this race. Honestly, the penultimate lap. Oh, Dustin Herroder's gone around. So that allows Sabrino to go by. And was this off the nose of Sabrino? Yes, it was. Sabrino sent him around. He got held up by Yoni Hagner.
Yeah, they're all getting held up and they're getting a little bit desperation out there at the moment. And that has just caused a little bit of carnage. I think the driving has gone a little bit hectic and people are just getting a little bit anxious out there and doing
But we need to go to our
throttles.
leader, Timothy Vaughn, who's coming out of the final corners now. He's going to take a handy victory after being given it by our pole sitter. But Timothy Vaughn taking a commanding victory today in the GTPs.
Yeah, Olsen holds on to that P2. Gaeta will take that P3. Coming around the final corner himself, though, is going to be Audrus Valentajus, who's had a quiet race after that weird incident there for Yuko Leskala. He will take victory once again in the GTP. Championship battle has started once again in the GTOs.
Absolutely. In the GTPs, however, still a battle between Stefan Leslie and Dustin Herroders. We see Yoni Hagner taking that second position. There we see Brendan Lim and Dylan Freckleton crossing the line. And here's the two of them crossing the line, and then Dustin Herroder not able to catch up to the back of Leslie.
Now, unable to do anything. Can he do anything on these last few corners?
No, this is it.
It's already done. Yeah, he couldn't do anything he could. They're all just going in for a little bit of a slide there. I think all the drivers just going out. I think that's one last battle, but I don't think it's going to be much there from the GTP. I believe that is all she wrote, Adam.
Absolutely, and that's going to take us to a short break here on GSRC. But don't go anywhere. We are going to have some driver interviews as well as the very unofficial results here, so don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss this. Welcome back to another chaotic race of the IMSA Vintage Series. This was round 8 of 12 for these drivers, and Timothy Vaughn took home the victory after surviving all of the chaos that happened earlier on in the race. Laust Olsen coming home in second position, 4.6 seconds back. Raul Jesgardia couldn't get past Laust in the final stretches of the race, so he takes the last step on the rostrum. Gio Cortez, 15 seconds back, just able to get past Jack Wells and Fabian Jungbluth and Adrian Prida-Sobrino in the final closing laps due to damage on most of those drivers. Jack Wells just able to get past Fabian Jungbluth due to damage caused by a late race incident. Adrian Prida-Sobrino fell back a little bit from his early race positions, back to 7th position, with Dylan Freckleton able to get past Brendan Lim and Xavier Sanchez for 8th spot. Then it goes to 11th position. There's Stefan Leslie down there in the 11th position, with Dustin Heroder on the next page as well. Javier Del Olmo finishes in the 14th position, 13th position rather, with Gaston Santarelli in 14th, and Martin Krejcik finishing in 15th after taking some damage early on in the race. Enol Luis unfortunately had some damage himself and is the last driver to finish on the lead lap. AJ Roper, who didn't have a great day today, finished in 17th, with Alexander Vandersant, Oyer Samaloa, and Aitor Sentes Galindo, as well as Farron Grau, rounding out your drivers in the GTPs.
We go look at the GTOs, which was won by Valentagius by 17 seconds. We'll get to why in a moment. Joni Hagner will get a P2, and Andreas Schuster holds off Noel Lumbo to get third, with the latter getting that 4th position. Doug Cloud will be 5th with Nicky Friesen in 6th, and then Johan van Hixie will make up 5 positions into 7th with Timothy Reed in 8th. Then Gregor Brashemi will be 9th, and Luis Hamilton will be 10th. And then quickly on to the rest of the page. They were laps down or retired, with Ian Haycock's a lap down. Jan Volmers was disqualified, I think, for incident points, 3 laps down, sorry. Josh Brown retired. Then Yuko Leskala, which we saw getting caught out in an accident, and JD Rodriguez, start of the race, didn't even make the green flag, was taken out in the last corner. He will finish 15th in the class.
Well, first up, talking to us today, we have Timothy Vaughn, our winner in the GTPs. He took home the win by 4.6 seconds over Laust Olsen. Tim, congratulations on the win today. I know that it was you took it by chance, at least to start with, but then you were able to pull away from the rest of the field pretty effectively. How was the race out there for you today?
Yeah, I think by chance is a good way to describe that win, to be honest. Got very lucky at the start there when Oyo went up on the inside, made a bit of contact, and I was just in the perfect spot to be able to slip through. Aitor and Farron behind me got caught out by the car coming back across the track. Later on in the race, Gio has a mistake, spins in traffic, and I'm again lucky to just be able to avoid that. And from there on, that first pass through traffic, I was able to, I think Laust must have got a pretty bad run. So I had a pretty good gap then. And then it was just about trying not to have any mistakes, which eventually did come. And then again, just lucky that little incident with the GTO was just enough to keep me ahead in the lead. And then Laust gets a bad run through traffic. So just a lot of luck falling my way today.
Luck, but you also had speed in that machine. A 16.259 was, aside from Gio Cortez, the fastest lap of any of the GTPs. A lot of the GTPs seem to be struggling technically with this track today, especially in dirty air. I know you didn't have much dirty air to work with today, but what do you think the secret is to getting a fast lap around this track?
To be honest, going into today, I was kind of dreading it for sort of a return. I've never really historically had great runs at Okayama. So I think, yeah, I was quite surprised with how qualifying went, and then able to just, I guess my race pace was just slightly better than my qualifying as well. So to be honest, I don't know, but I may have found it out today.
Well, Timothy, it's been great seeing you racing here over the last couple of seasons. I know a lot of drivers do like the jump back and forth between the Audi and the GTP, and I know that you have done the same as well. What had you racing the Audi today or this season versus the GTO?
um, I think it's been a couple of seasons now that I've been in the Audi. So I just like to mix it up. The Nissan's what I first started racing IMSA Vintage with, so it's just nice to switch it up, go between the two. It's both cars are just amazing to drive.
Well, Timothy, congratulations on the win. It was a very commanding win, and we'll see you next week.
Hopefully.
Absolutely. Well, that was Timothy Vaughn, our winner in the GTPs. And we got Laust Olsen, who finished second in the GTPs, talking to Craig King.
Yep, got Laos with me today. And Laos, I think it's safe to say you might need to buy a lottery ticket after that lap one, turn one moment there, because it almost looked like for a split second you were going to be in the gravel there and probably going to be getting some damage.
Yeah, I think I was pretty lucky that I survived that incident. According to my spotter, I had minor aero damage on the side of the car, but nothing that I could really feel impacting my lap time. So I think I was pretty lucky, yeah.
Yeah, we can just see on the replay there, as Robert's just bringing it up for us there, you can just see a little dent just there on the side. So just catching out there, but it wasn't the best of times because it looked like at some points traffic was being favorable to you and you were catching up to Timothy, and then times it wasn't. How did it feel inside the car trying to get around the traffic around this always challenging circuit?
Yeah, if you catch the traffic at the wrong time, you can lose time, and I'm probably not as good as some of my competitors to find the gaps or take the chances in some of the slower turns. I don't know, but I tend to lose, and I also lost a lot to Timothy in the first round of traffic. So that's definitely one of my weak points. So something to work on, yeah.
So to work on it as well, because I did also catch. I'm not going to call you out for it, but I think it's the only person I caught. He had a couple time penalties, slowdowns because of the penultimate corner, which is always a tough corner as well. Did you feel like you were just over pushing at some point, or was that just a lapse in concentration?
I think that was just a lapse in concentration. It happened one time, and luckily I had a couple of seconds down to Raul, so I could serve it without losing a position. So again, yeah, perhaps a lottery ticket is the way to go to this weekend.
Yeah, if you do win, you'll share some money with us. We did tell you to buy a lottery ticket. Next week as well. You're back on the podium, and next week we're at Aragon, which is the outer layout once again. Is that something that you feel confident in? I know it's like 5 corners in a straight, as we joke, but is that a track that you're looking forward to because it did have some good racing the last time we went there?
Yeah, I think I wasn't that strong the last time. It was also the first time I raced at Aragon. I've had a couple of races since in other series, so I hope my pace will be a little better this time around. But that long straight and the draft, that's going to be quite difficult to manage, I think.
Well, Klaus, it's great to see you again. It's great to see you up on the podium. And as I always joke, my curse has not hit you because every time you're racing, every time in the booth, it always feels like you're the one getting crashed out. And I blame myself sometimes, but it's great to see you once again. And we look forward to seeing you next weekend.
Thanks a lot.
That, Adam, was Lars Olsen, came P2 today in the GTPs.
Absolutely, and that's going to wrap us up for today. We want to give a big thank you to the team, Craig, Bobbert, and Dougie, and we want to make sure that you check out our social media, website, and merchandise store, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on the GSRC. Now, next race, as we just mentioned, is Motorland Aragon. That is Saturday, February 10th. That is at noon Eastern. Also, be sure to check out the other broadcasts that are listed here on your screen. Now, we hope you've enjoyed joining us today as much as we've enjoyed bringing this racing to you, and we hope to see you back again next week. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.